Hello, how are you guys? Hi Megan, hi Louise. How are you doing? Did you have a good weekend? Sorry, I just realized I have had this thing in my hand for like 5 minutes. I finally ordered some pattern hooks. Aren't you guys proud of me? So I just wanted to put a few here. So, hi Terry, how are ya? So a bit of a schedule change this week. It seemed, hi Samia, how's it going? It seemed like we all needed some more time to draft our blocks. Hello, hello. And so I just postponed it till after the holidays. Hi Leslie. Yep. Yeah, are you asking, are you suspicious of my pattern hooks? Yeah, they're just to hang my patterns up. They look kind of like this. I have one attached to the end of my ruler here. Hi, Maribel. Oh, cool, Megan. I've made the making backpack, which you guys know. Oh, what are they? Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, so it looks like this. And so I have this tool. You don't need the tool to use these, but I was a professional pattern drafter and freelance. Hi, Malin. So I got this thing called a rabbit punch. I've seen people just cut a triangle or hack a hole. And then what you can do is hang up your patterns, and it fits on a closet dowel, just like this. So you can actually see, I can't reach my camera, but you'll get a glimpse occasionally of my pattern rack behind me. It basically is a rolling rack with all my patterns on it. So it's like the one thing I lost in my move here, and my stream has been suffering ever since because I keep looking for pattern hooks and they keep hearing me whine about them, and I finally just ordered them. So. And I actually found a drawer full of them yesterday, but it's only the hook because I cut the cords off because they were all ratty. I've had them for like 20 years, so. Yes, I love, this bag's really cute. Hi, Dominican. Wait, what's your name? It's Megan, right? Not Frederica, right? Because Frederica has also a different username. So, yeah, so we're going to postpone the bodice block, and Megan, yes, all right. Hi, Cheyenne, how's it going? I didn't expect so many people to pop in today. We're so busy. Let's see. I'm glad to see you guys. And today I saw on Instagram that someone's doing a plus and curvy pattern sizing workshop. And I signed up for it. I mean, I know I have a lot of skills and experience, but I'm kind of interested to see something really geared towards that. So I signed up for it, and it looks like I already can start taking it because it's an online course. So maybe anything I get from that will also help with some of our pattern drafting, next year. Next year. That's the time of year we're at. So yeah, so I didn't tell you guys, but I bought this tote right when it came out. My mom and I, like a lot of you, have always been looking for the perfect purse. Hi, Megan. Oh, okay. I saw you already. And I didn't think I could fit it in. That's why I didn't want to mention it to you guys, but it is really cute. I like her stuff. It's simple. And there's 2 sizes. Those are 2 different sizes right there, just so you know. The left is the mini, and this is the regular. So I'm going to make the mini first, just as a trial, and see. I don't actually carry a purse most of the time, and I actually do have a couple I like, but I still like making them. So, well, I don't know if it'll be magic, Louise, but I'll try. So the one thing about Noodlehead patterns is they're pretty affordable, and partly it's probably because you create your own patterns from measurements. The inside, let's see if there's pictures of it in here. Let's see. I have it copied on scrap paper. Oh yeah, here we go, Megan. So there is an interior pocket. And so you can see like this right here is an exterior pocket, that print on the outside. And the finished measurements are, let's see, I saw those yesterday. I think it's on this page. Okay, so for the regular bag, the larger one, it is finished 9.5 inches wide, 3 inches deep when you measure it at the base, like front to back, and then 9.25 inches tall. So I would say it's about, you know, this wide, this deep, and that tall. So no pattern pieces. Yeah, a lot of, like the making backpack, you draft your pattern pieces. And so, but what's helpful is she gives you these pattern labels. One of the pages are these pattern labels. And hi, Carol. And then you can, you use these for your cut pieces. You can just stick them with your cut pieces so that you know what piece is which. But what I did, I was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to print those on old labels and I'm going to still put them with my cut pattern pieces. But then I printed a second set and I've been using them as my pattern labels right on the pattern piece. So I also color coded it so I know what each one is cut in which fabric. So this is how the making backpack is as well. You get a supply list and then you get the measurements. And then she gives you cutting layouts as well. So I find using these little labels to be a lot easier because I can set this completely aside. And it also starts getting you familiar with what each pattern piece is. So I've already drafted the ones for the mini, but I'm gonna do the regular one as well because there's probably a few people that might watch this video and kind of be like, oh, I was all ready to cut and sew and now I have to draft the pattern pieces. And I do feel like that is kind of like can be a stumbling block. I mean, we're already kind of like, I don't want to buy a PDF pattern because I don't want to tape pieces together, right? You need a pattern to make a bag, not big enough. The bag isn't big enough for you. So you could enlarge it though. You literally could scale it up, with just copying the pieces on your printer. You know what I mean? Just cut it up in corner, cut up your pattern piece so it fits on the screen, and then, yeah, it would be a little tricky, but so I'm gonna do this. I forgot to get a pencil. I will do it with a Sharpie, my favorite way to draft patterns. I've been really trying to keep my studio tidy after everything. Yeah, she does exactly, Megan. She has a lot of bag patterns. I would totally check out her site. And they're really vetted, she doesn't just come out with it and throw it together, So, all right, so when I am doing this, I kind of look at all the pattern pieces. So first thing to note, 3 of the pattern pieces are the same for both sizes. Your strap, the zipper end tab, and the strap holder. Exact same pattern piece for the mini as well as the regular. So I don't have to make these now. I've already made them and they're tiny. Like this one's pretty small, 1.25 inches wide by 2 inches, So you just make those if you're gonna do both bags and see. Hi, Georgiana. Oh my goodness, welcome. Yeah, so that is one thing. If you're making this bag or anything like this, if you have to draft the pattern pieces, I know it's an extra step, but make pattern pieces. So you can just do it with a rotary knife, a gridded ruler, and a cutting mat, and you won't have to draft a single pattern piece, right? But for me, the pattern drafter person, I really like having pieces, and most likely I'm gonna wanna make this again, and I'll be so happy that I made pattern pieces. That is what kind of makes me make the making backpack more than once, because I already have the pieces waiting for me, I think Georgiana's in Australia, aren't you, Georgiana? Right? I try and keep track. All right, so the first thing I do is I look for common numbers. And so all 4 of these pattern pieces they have one number in common. So what I'll do is actually make, one long rectangle that is that width. And then I just divvy it up for all the other pattern pieces. Rather than drafting one pattern piece and then drafting another pattern piece, you might as well just do a bunch at once, right? So I'm actually not going to use this as my drafting ruler. So I'm going to take that measurement and go across. You really want to make sure things are square. These aren't the best rulers for getting a square, you know, because you're only using 2 inches as your, like the bottom of your triangle, you know, your right angle. But, you know, I'm pretty good, and I will check it as well. So I'm going to do a few that are that width right here. Just like this. That way I know at least it's parallel, right? Draw my line. And then I'll be ready to just divvy it up in all the pattern pieces. Like that. So we have one that is a big one. Let's see. This is the main bag. I feel like this also gives you an opportunity to get familiar with the pattern pieces so that you start knowing what you're going to cut them in which fabrics. Because I'm not actually going to follow exactly how she has it, mainly because of fabric constraints. So this is this one here. So remember I said I printed this on labels? I just did like a sheet of labels, like Avery shipping labels, and they weren't the right size, but then I just taped over all the seams of the labels, and now I'm just going to cut them apart. They don't have to be fancy, right? So this one is this largest one right here, and it's the main bag. This is the only drawback for doing that. So it's the main panel. Stick it on there. It gets the exterior fabric, and it gets interfacing, which I always denote as red. So that's how I kind of do that. I'm gonna make a linen cotton canvas and a cotton canvas are my 2 fabrics. I'm like I said, I'm doing a sample. It will be kind of cute fabrics, but it's not what I want my purse to be eventually. Oh, you're in Victoria, okay. Oh, that's great. I guess, I mean, it's summertime there. Every time I go by a house here that has like a lot of holiday decorations for Christmas, I always think about what it must look like in Australia because, you know, like seeing all the like snowmen and icicles and stuff that people put out, I always think, what would that look like in Australia in the middle of summer? All right, so let's see. Our other pieces are not quite as big as this one. So we have one that's this size. I do not know why I keep using this ruler because it's kind of a pain. I just wanted a nice long straight line, so I'm gonna use this for this one. And if you don't have your labels, just write it on there. Just make sure you don't get them confused because a couple of them are really similar. So now I have this interior pocket. And then I have 2 left. I don't have enough paper for both. So I'm just going to do the biggest one, you know. That way I use as much of this paper as possible. Let's continue the line. My paper, I just cut it, so my paper's a little curly. I'm putting my line to the right, the line of the ruler to the right of the ink line on the paper because this pen is so fat. Try and keep it as accurate as possible. This is this one. This is the lining, the main inside of the bag lining. This piece has so many, this little label has so many of the cuts in the label. And we just need one more. So I'm going to cut these out and I'm going to use them to draft the last one. So I'm going to set this right here so I don't lose that. And then once I cut these out, I look through the pattern in the sewing instructions. And I kind of look for things that I'm going to need to know where like markings are, you know, like where the pocket placement is or the snap placement or something like that. And I try and mark it on the pattern now. I may not catch all of them because I may not be like seeing all of the places in the instructions I could use a marking, but I try and catch some of them, you know. This way you really ensure all of these pieces are the exact same width, right? Because that way when you go to cut and sew them, you know they're gonna work. Well, I have thin markers, but you wouldn't be able to see it. I would never draft patterns with Sharpies. I use a soft lead pencil or a hard lead pencil. Usually hard lead, and there's no way you could see that on camera. I do the hard lead because the point stays finer for longer, and then I don't have to sharpen it as often, and it also is more accurate, so it's a finer point. I just use Sharpie for you guys. You saw a snowman on a balcony. Not a real snowman though, right? I know, see, it is a weird thing. So when I went to Australia and New Zealand, it was our summer here. So it was like 110 degrees and it was winter there. Full winter, like it snowed and everything. It was very fun. It was a nice break from the heat here. This is just the fastest way to do this, right? So we have these three. I am not done with those either. I just need one more. This isn't my usual pattern table either. It's a little small. You got a little surprise snow? How funny. That's nice. I always feel like those aren't usually a surprise. Nope, the seam allowances are all included on these pattern pieces. I think they're 1/2 inch for all of it. All right, so this last one is most similar to this one here. So I'm just going to trace it off. Oh man, I keep growing for a pencil and I realize, oh yeah, you won't be able to see that. I would trace my pattern pieces in Sharpie on fabric, but just so I could see them. This is my usual pattern paper, Leslie, but it is a little bit overkill. When you're learning pattern drafting, you use something called dot paper, and I think I tried to find a sample of it for you guys, but I don't have any more. So sometimes you'll see me use white paper, and it's plotter paper from my wide format plotter that I still need to sell. Because I used to have a CAD program for pattern drafting, and I would use that paper inside my plotter. I really need to sell it so I don't keep using the plotter paper as pattern paper. It's too wasteful. It's too expensive for that. All right, so now this is my last pattern piece. It's only 1/2 inch different than the other. So I like using this kind of paper, Leslie, because I can trace around it for when I'm making other patterns or when I'm cutting it out in fabric. Now, I will say I am the biggest rule breaker when it comes to tracing around my pattern pieces. So you're supposed to put the pattern piece on your fabric, trace around it, and then cut the fabric without the pattern piece. I will cheat a lot, and I will put the pattern piece on the fabric and use my rotary knife. Don't do that. You will definitely one day start shaving off your pattern pieces. I remade ours almost every year at the factory. I always remade them because we did digitally cut, you know. So this is just a manila straight up pattern paper. So let's see, this last sticker goes on this guy here. All right, so now let's look at our pattern pieces here. So this one is, it comes in the accent fabric, which for me, I call contrast, and I always denote that as green. I always denote lining as blue. And then I always denote interfacing, inner lining as red. It's just a little call out to me, because normally what I would do is I would write on the pattern piece like this. I would say, Hillside Tote. This is how I would do it in the garment industry. I mean, if you're doing it old school, hard copy patterns, you know. Exterior pocket. I would also put the company name Noodlehead right there. And then I would say I need, and I already started this wrong because there's no main fabric in this one. So I would have started this in the green. So then I would say 2 accent. So all this would be the green. And then I would write in lining, 2 lining. This is just a great visualization so that you don't make a mistake when you're cutting out your bag. 2 interfacing. We always wrote Pellon, even though it's a brand name because it's shorter. Color codings, yeah, something that makes sense to you. I just always use industry standard, and all my patterns that I'm making are gonna be that way. And it's confusing to my graphic artist because she's just like, why are, because even my cutting layouts are color coded. She's like, why is this red and this is green and this is blue? Like, it has to be like that. So, and then your grain line, you would want a grain line on here as well. This is the exterior pocket. So I know that this goes this way on the bag, right? So that's why I put the grain line. So just in case you have a directional print, you don't cut this sideways by accident. You can follow cutting layouts, but the person who designed the cutting layouts doesn't know what fabric you're using. So you really have to pay attention to using the cutting layout properly in conjunction with what fabric you picked out. You know what I mean? All right, so this interior, let's see. The only other accent pieces are the pieces that already existed. The strap, and that strap, I didn't have enough paper, so I put a fold, like cut on the fold there. That's why mine looks so short. So this one's lining. What others? Lining, interfacing, and interfacing. Now, if you're cutting this out of canvas, she says you can skip the interfacing. And she says she has liked her bags even being canvas lining, and then you can skip the interfacing on that as well. And I'm all about skipping interfacing, so. All right, so this one here, interior pocket, same thing. I know the pocket isn't like this, right? It's like this. So I can put the grain line on here. Some of these others I might be like, I'm not sure which way that goes. And then I'd be looking at the sewing instructions, which I already have, so I know that these go like this. So Megan, I mean, this is a good indication of how big this bag is. It's pretty big. All right, and so the main panel, we'll use a black pen. And I'm gonna do a couple of other things to this one. Putting your grain line on here is really helpful for you with your directional fabrics. So don't forget that. Okay, so now we have these. Now, I like to look ahead, like I said. I know that there's a snap on this, and I know that there is, I need to figure out where the pockets go when I'm sitting at the sewing machine. And then more importantly, I saw in here that you need to cut out corners of your bag. So on the main panel, you're going to take your main panel piece, and this measurement's different for the mini and for the regular. Now I'm gonna fold it and kind of do it this way. This is when you know if your if you were square when you when you traced out your pattern, this is when it all like starts coming undone if you didn't get it quite right. All right, so you're gonna cut out little corners right here, right? And so I know that I'm using the regular sized measurements for this, which isn't in the brackets, okay? And it's gonna be 1.5 inches up and 1 inches over. 1.5 inches up, 1 inch up. 1.5 inches this way and 1 inch this way. I'm gonna hang it off a little bit for the width of my pin. Same with this side over here. So this is just nice to do before you get to your sewing machine, you know? And now I'm gonna cut them out. All right, so we did that. Let's just browse here. Anytime I see something like this, when she's putting a measurement on there, I know that that's probably not included on the pattern markings, right? Because we didn't mark the pattern anywhere. So this is where we can add some notches. And so on the main panel piece, I see 2¼ inches down is where that exterior pocket's gonna go. So we will just mark it on here. 2¼ There's a exterior pocket on front and back. And then I have a little notcher, but you could put a little like triangle or whatever you like for your notches. Even if you just draw it on there. I'm doing both layers. And this is my other thing. Even if you don't get to cut that out, highlight it so you don't miss it when you're going to cut out your pattern. All right, so what else can we rely on? So the exterior pocket has a snap, so I'm going to do that. Hi Amanda, how's it going? I'm gonna mark the snap on there. And let's find where that's at. Okay, so it's different for a metal snap or a magnetic snap. So I'm just going to mark it on there, and then I probably won't transfer the marking in ink on my fabric pieces just to make sure. Right, I know, me too. And you know, my pet peeve is like, I want to put the pattern away usually when I go to sit at my sewing machine. I just want to sew. And so this way you have a lot of this done and you can just go to town sewing. Like, it just depends on what you find the most enjoyable. And for me, I really like to zone out and sew and watch something or listen to a book, you know? And this way I can do that because I'm you know, it'll be more smooth. So I always put a cross mark for where a hole or a marking goes. I do have this really nifty tool called a screw punch, and it's specifically for paper. This was definitely a decadent buy at the time I got it, but it's great. It's great because you can punch a hole no matter where you're at in the middle of paper. This one you could use a hole punch. It would be kind of a big hole, but at least you could do it on the paper, you know? I do the cross mark because eventually this little hole might wear out or get a little bit like drift to the right or the left because the Sharpie ink kind of wears it out or something. And at least you know with that cross mark, like where the center would be, if you can see some of it still. All right, so we got that, and let's see if there's anything else. Maybe the interior pocket to the back. Yeah, so there's another one. There's a measurement right there for the interior pocket. And I imagine we need the corners of the interior as well. Oh, it's funny, Louise. I have my screw punch from a long time ago, and I know her, and she sells the replacement tips, and that's where I get my replacement tips, all the way from the UK. I was so excited that she actually carried those. I was like, I am supporting her. So here's my main piece for my lining, and here's my pocket. I don't think I need the pocket, I just need the main. So this is 2 3/4 inches down. So same thing, Your lining has a seam on the bottom here. It's not cut all in one like the main bag is, the outer bag. So let's do a little notch there. You can use your notcher this way. You see a lot of people using it like this with the this part facing up. But I find it more accurate, and a lot of people don't even think to turn it over. You can see inside, and that's how I do it. I've actually worked with pattern drafters that have been doing it for, you know, 15 years longer than me and never even realized to turn it over. And the first time someone did that in front of me, I was like, oh my God, why have I never turned this damn thing over, you know? I can see the line, because you're using that hard pencil line that's so skinny. Sometimes you're like, oh, I didn't make it go long enough to be able to see it above the tip of the notcher. Okay, so let's see. It looks like you place your straps resting on the pockets. We don't need a mark for that. And then all of the zipper stuff. So we just need to cut out the corners, it looks like. So, you know, when I see these little symbols, the scissors, that's why I'm like, oop, I probably need to do that. All right, so 1.5 inch square of the lining corners. Now, she shows this piece upside down. And I just think it's good to note that. I'm pretty sure that that's what's going on there, because you're going to line up your pocket in relation to the top of the bag, not the bottom of the bag. And then you're going to cut the corners out of the bottom. And if you're unsure, you can sew one together or go through the steps first before you do any of this. I just thought I'd walk you through this for those of you that are actually making this, to feel more confident about doing some of these markings. And I don't want you guys to think that this is actually how I do pattern drafting, because I would never cut corners out like this either. This will work though. It works for us on a home sewing level. It's accurate enough. We're not going in production. I'm going to show you my hardware in a second, actually, because I dug around in my bins. Okay, so that looks like we got a lot. We may have gotten it all. So the fabric it takes, let's see. So for the exterior fabric, so if you want to make it the way she has it, and so she has this this pocket on the outside and the strap, and then all the little like you know, doohickeys, these small doohickeys up there. They are called the accent fabric. So making these pattern pieces made me realize that, which is great, right? And then the main part of the bag, the exterior fabric, is this solid. And then there's lining. So for the exterior fabric, you need a 1/2 yard or a fat quarter, she says. Oh wait, fat quarter for the mini. Okay. And then the accent fabric, which is that contrast, you need a 1/2 yard for either. And then for the lining fabric, you need 3/4 of a yard for the bigger one, a 1/2 yard for the mini. And then you need a lot of fusible interfacing, like a little over 2 yards if you use a lightweight fabric. I'm using canvas, I don't have to do that. So for the, so now I'm gonna put my pattern pieces aside because I'm gonna use the mini. And I'm actually gonna, see, this is my rabbit punch. It looks like a rabbit. See? This is what I use to put my patterns on the hook, and it makes this big hole. Okay, so now I can hang these up and get them out of my way. I don't think that's in front of the camera. Oh yeah, exactly, Amanda. You can totally do that. Yeah, I think she relies on canvas a lot. All right, let's get all this out of the way. right, so this does call for hardware. And you know what? I actually bought her hardware. Let me show it to you. Wait, where is it? Let me see if I know where it's at before. Oh, yeah, I know where it's at. Okay, so how do I keep the small pattern pieces? So when they're too small to punch a hole in, that's such a good question. I will sometimes attach this to another piece of paper and punch a hole in that. Like, I do need to do that with this one, so I'll show you what I do. Sometimes I tape it to what I call a pattern card, which is like a list of all the pattern pieces and like basically this first page of information in the tote. You have something like this, but a little more compact, easier to read, and streamlined, hanging on the front of every pattern card, right? And sometimes I will tape this to the front of the pattern card and I write in big letters what the measurements are, and then I just don't even pull that piece off. Because removable tape, it'll eventually fall off of the pattern card. But instead, I'll do something like this. I will, just tape it to a piece of paper so I can see most of it. Even like more than that. Usually we would staple it. I don't like staples. It's just a personal thing, not a strategic thing. And then I just punch a hole in this. That way I don't lose it. And then I'll hang that on the thing. This one I just went straight through. I just made sure I could see, bits of it. And I thought that this is the mini and the regular. And I could see that it's the exact same thing. I just punched a hole through that. So that's how I do that. All right, so for the hardware, this calls for 12-inch or a 10-inch zipper, depending on which size you make. D-rings, which are these, the ones that are shaped like a D. Swivel clasps and a strap slider. And a magnetic or a regular snap. I have a few of those, so I'm going to do the magnetic, and it's in a big old jumble because they're all magnetized together. I think I have one set left. So I'm saving these for my mom and I's bags. I'm not going to do it on this one. So I'm just going to hoard those. And then for the swivel clasps, so I ordered two of each of hers. I got the nickel and the brass. And so here's the D-rings, the slider, and the swivel. This is the swivel. It means it swivels and it has this clip so you can remove your strap. So I ordered these when I ordered the pattern. They came really fast, actually. And she has it linked in the pattern description, and it's called something a little different because it was probably the exact same hardware for a different pattern that she has. So don't get confused. It is exactly what you need. And it's all for 1 inch. So this is what I find when I'm doing this kind of thing. This hardware, you guys, I've been to a lot of outdoor shows. I've been to a few fashion, and by shows, I mean like where all the vendors have booths, like everybody you can think of, North Face and Arc'teryx and all those people, they have booths there. We would have a booth there, and we would, meet with the stores that would buy from us, and that's what our sales crew did, right? They were having meetings all day. Designers, we would walk around meeting people, meeting fabric vendors, and looking at this kind of stuff, which slowly can drive you absolutely crazy. I mean, the fabrics alone in the outdoor world are so chemical and science-based that it gets so overwhelming. I hold my own there. But when you get into the hardware world, let me tell you, this, like if you want this thing right here, it comes in about 5 million gazillion different iterations. And you think you know what you want, and it can come, like just something as simple as this can come in so many different ways, like that. This one slides, this one's fixed. this distance, this thickness, the arch, everything about them, the material. So unicorn color? No unicorn color. That would be kind of cool though. The kinds that are like look like what are those? What is that? It looks like a puddle in the street that got oil in it. It's rainbow. So I would go to those. Ooh, don't do that. I would go to those booths, and they had. You guys would love it. They would have all these little like bowls. Like I don't know what they were. 100 bowls, and it would all be all this stuff in each of them, and you could take samples. Iridescent. Thank you, Leslie. But it's called it's not called oxidized. It's called anodized. Is that what it is? Yeah, I don't know. But so I would pick up samples at the shows, mostly for my personal use, because we actually had a really good purchasing department that would find these things for us. So I still have really weird things from those days. Some of them are kind of outdated, I bet now. But I was just gonna look through, and this was from. How to do that? This was actually from a bag my husband, it had failed, and so I took all the hardware off of it. Took all the stuff because it was really good hardware. So anytime you're getting rid of a bag that's actually like completely ruined and can't be salvaged, and you're not donating it, take all of the hardware off of it. It will be useful someday. Even if it's only like a mismatched thing, you might need to replace something on your own. So they're really great. Yeah, oil, exactly. So anyway, this hardware, it's not very expensive, and it makes your bag look, so got those. And I'm just gonna kind of pull from my thing. I may even I was thinking even maybe just putting like a handle on this bag and not a strap. So what did you just do, Amanda? What did you just do? So anyway, yeah, I have some really weird things in here. I have my little drawers all organized. These are all the slides and D-rings. These are all the hooks. They're starting to jump bins. So that's my plan with the hardware. You don't have to have the hardware. It just really, you took a bag for hardware. Yeah, see, it's so great. I mean, so great. Useful. So this is my fabric today. I have a black canvas. I'm going to use this cat as my pocket and probably the polka dot as a lining. Hopefully the cameras will be okay with the darkness when we go to sew them. So for the pattern piece, I just clipped all my little labels to this piece so I wouldn't lose them when I was shuffling stuff around today. So there's nothing strategic about this. I just didn't want to lose them. So I'm going to, what I like to do is always pile my pattern pieces up on the fabric, especially with bags. Bags are really confusing. Everything's a freaking rectangle and you don't know what goes where, right? Yeah, you can do that, Megan. I never have. I actually have some of those and I've never used them. I've had them for like 15 years. I know, I love this kitty fabric. I made that portside dock kit last year out of that, didn't I? Is that still around here somewhere? Or maybe not. I'm gonna have to have a studio sale someday, you guys. I have so many pie. You should see how many pie slices and cupcakes over there. It looks like a bakery. I mean, I wish it was, All right, so my accent fabric, I don't have enough of my accent fabric to do the straps as well. So I'm gonna just do the exterior pocket in the cat. That's all I can do in that. I could probably do the strap holder. This is exterior fabric. And then strap holder, no. The strap holder needs to match the strap. These need to be the same, whatever you do. You could make them different, but what the strap holder is it holds the D-ring that the strap will eventually loop through. So yeah, the hardware can be really expensive. The markup on them is pretty high. I hate to say it, but it really is. I feel this is pretty affordable. She hasn't marked it up a billion times like people do, I'm lucky enough too that I still have samples from working with some of my vendors, you know, because I would say, hey, I'm looking for a 3-bar slider, which is the one that is the, you know, 2 spaces and then it's straight across. So it looks like a buckle. And he would say, well, you know, like I said, there's 5 gazillion versions of that. He's like, all right, well, we stock black. I'm like, all right, that's fine. We'll start there. He's like, what's the width? What's the, you know, sometimes some vendors are really good and know their stuff, and they can ask you other questions like, what's the size of the webbing that you're putting through here? And how thick or heavy is it? Because that makes a big difference. So, but then you have to talk about, like, is it going to come in contact with salt water or water at all? So there's a lot of things that you have to consider. Or if it's going through UL approval, which, like, you know, like on your light bulb, it says UL approved. That is really typical with, like, life jackets and things like that. Okay, so I'm going to do this for the bulk of my bag. It's just a canvas that I use pretty often. Oof. Is that too dark, you guys? You want me to lighten it up? I probably am going to have to use my rotary knife around these pattern pieces because I don't want to use my chalk. That's why. My main is going to be this black fabric. My strap is going to be the black fabric. My zipper and tab will be the black fabric. The interior pocket. I might actually do my interior pocket in polka dot and then the lining in this black. Like, this is just a prototype. A cute prototype. Right? Okay, so let's see. We'll do one thing at a time. Let's do this one right away. Oh, I forgot my rotary knife. Just a second, right back. That's right. All right, so I need 2 of these. I have a really weird shaped piece of fabric. I think I can, what do I want left for my scrap? Let's get this out of the way. And I'm going to trace it on the back. Make sure it's straight. Polka dots can really look crooked, you know? So, okay. The solid color. What about the solid color? So I went on this house tour this weekend. It was so fun and inspiring. It was like a quilt guild thing. Took my mom. But it was all in paradise where the campfire was, which was really great to spend time up there. Really crazy too. Whole huge, beautiful neighborhoods. Streets paved and sidewalks and one house, you know. It was kind of incredible. And it was just good to talk to people and hear their stories. All the houses we went to had survived the fire, and one of them, maybe more than one. One of them, the people had lost their home and bought after the fire, you know, so it wasn't their original home. All right, so this is the interior pocket, and I'm gonna use my little stickers. This feels so decadent doing this, you know? And like I said, I just used the, I don't really care if all that's on there. But see, look, I used the Avery labels, you know, like the little 1" by 2" labels. And I used 2" by 4" labels. Like ones I had that have been kicking around, they're getting a little ratty looking. And I just copied it on there. And then on all of them, but obviously these, I just put a piece of tape across the little parts that were going to come apart like that. So I just need to do that. And then that way I know what pattern piece that is and get rid of this. All right, so now we have the exterior pocket. And one of the really cool things on this home tour was something I didn't know. People had said, like, my friend was like, oh, I'm at the cookie house. And I didn't know what that meant. And I was like, I don't know what that means, you know. I don't ever assume. I just like to know, you know. And so she was like, well, I'm at the house with like everyone baked cookies. And I'm at that house. And oh my God, they were so good. But one of the other houses, someone said, oh, that's the house. And I was like, house, okay. You know, I just kind of went along with it. I said, oh, you know, I'll figure it out when I get there. This isn't a directional print. They go right side up and upside down. So, you know. So anyway, this house, this was definitely the one that I wasn't prepared for. I would have warned my mom because it was a little more emotional than all the others. But apparently after the fire, the fabric store that's up in Paradise, which I didn't know was there, she's told the, you know, her connections in the world. She was like, you know, I really want to support our sewers here, sewists and stuff. She, I think, lost part of her store and most of it was just smoke damage. So she had to start over as well. And so she put this call out to the world for quilt blocks with the house on it. It was a specific block. And they received over 2,000 of them, you guys. 2,000 of them from all over the world. A lot of them from France, which was really neat. I did mark that little dot right there. Because this is black fabric and I'm using a black pen, I'm going to take a chance and do that. I may not use it. You never know. And this is what I want, and I need lining fabric. I need lining fabric for interior pocket, lining fabric, interior pocket, exterior pocket. Oh, okay. But anyway, it was really cool, you guys. These houses were all different shapes and sizes and colors, and a lot of them had written something on it. And then they also like made these poster boards with all the notes that came with them. It was really good. It was just like we didn't know that, and it kind of caught us off guard, you know. And the very first quilt we saw made with the blocks was like, oh, it was someone had taken a picture of their house. They had a picture of their house before the fire, and then they took a picture of their house after, and those pictures were in the quilt on fabric. And then under it, which was startling, and then under it was some of the house blocks. There were like 5 of them. And then they had written in like embroidery, you know, like letters, thread letters on the bottom, a whole like little paragraph about it. It was really cool. But that was definitely like, we weren't expecting that, and that really took us off guard, and it was a little tough, to say the least. So, but then we were fine. But it was so cool. There were like thousands of these houses, and they were just, and like some of them would be like a dog house or, you know, a house crooked on the hill, and they were really cool. I would have made one if I'd known, you know. All right, so here I have my accent fabric. Am I doing this right? Exterior pocket. And this is the interior pocket. Yeah, exterior pocket. Yeah. So this is my accent fabric. I got that. I need 2 in the lining fabric. Let's get rid of this piece here. What else do I need the cats or something else? I already have everything in that. So I still need this in the lining as well. So I'm going to do it in solid black. But in the interior pocket, don't I need... Maybe you don't line those. Okay. When my metal ruler is on the table and it's right there, it stresses me out because I am always worried I'm going to hit it with my rotary blade. I don't worry about anything else but that dumb metal ruler, and it's just because I've done it before, you know, like you'll be cutting and it'll get like on the table and it's like diagonal, and then you just go up to it and barely touch it, and your blade's ruined, you know. Okay, so this is all pre-washed, I happen to know. And very linty. So one easy thing when you're doing this kind of thing to do is you use your cut fabric pieces as your template. Makes it a little easier. So this is that exterior pocket, and I just need to, in the lining, so let's do that. Have I told you guys about the saga of my chicken? I have, right? I've been keeping you up to date on the saga of Luna, right? I'm not doing the interfacing because I'm using canvas for both. The print is a little lighter weight. It's like a linen cotton canvas. I've actually made pants out of it. And not as heavy as this. So this is going to give it most of the body. I haven't told you guys because I don't want to be like boring. But so a couple 3 years ago, we had a coop built, right? A yard and a coop. I ordered the coop. I cheesed out on that, and I just ordered a really nice coop because I really wanted something predator proof, and I don't mess around with predators. I really don't like bringing animals into a situation where, you know, they're not safe. Looking at my pattern pieces here. I don't want to lose my little tiny ones. So maybe I will just cut those right now and get them out of the way. So the guy did a really great job at first of the yard. It was really nice. He kind of followed the mow strip of our yard and then squared it off in the back, and then we cut a hole in it, put the coop up to it. But it wasn't predator proof and the roof wasn't done. And then he stopped and I couldn't get him to come back. And then one day it was like really windy and I was like, dude, I'm losing the roof, right? And so he, do I have any chalk over here? Oh yeah, I do. He, I called him, I was like, I'm losing the roof, it's windy, and Michael's out of town, so he came over. Oh, this is my broken Choco liner. Yikes. I'm gonna try and get it on there. So he came over and did, you know, he got it on there, but it didn't do the greatest job, and he didn't finish it. And so there was also like the netting, the wire went up the sides, and then there was a gap between the roof and this wire. And I didn't know how he was gonna like deal with that gap, and he never dealt with the gap. This is where my story is going. And he also never put in the like the concrete perimeter at the base so that predators can't dig under. You guys, I've raised most likely a couple thousand chickens. I have experience with this, and I have experience with predators. And I was like, you know, that's my biggest deal is predators, especially when you're living kind of urban. Raccoons and skunks are kind of a problem, right? So last year, tragically, my coop was still not done, and I had put some boards between the wire and the roof. I had just set them in there temporarily, but the bottom, like I said, never got that concrete perimeter. He was gonna put a slurry around the perimeter, and he never did that. And something got into my coop and killed 4 of my chickens. I had 6. I killed 4 of them. One had died right before this whole thing, just from a mysterious illness. There's my end tabs. I don't think those are that straight, by the way. And I was left with 1 chicken, Luna. Not the alpha of the coop or anything. And you know, she didn't go like that's what happens. You usually lose your alpha because that's the one who goes out and protects and is all like, you're gonna mess with my girls, you know. And she is not that girl, so she was, you know, she was the beta, but you know. So I've had 1 chicken for a year now, And she's, you know, kind of sad. They're very social creatures, you know? They're very social creatures, and she didn't even look that great. Like, her comb wasn't standing straight up, you know, and she wasn't laying very consistently. And then she started getting some residents hanging out with her in the form of a rat living with her, eating, not bugging her, but just like cohabitating in there. And I was like, okay, this is not okay, because they can be really bad for your chickens. You know, they'll stress them out. They won't lay anymore. So anyway, okay, are you guys bored right now? Because there's another story that goes along with my chicken story. It's kind of like the two are merging, all right? So, all right, so I think I told you guys maybe about the pool. Did I tell you about the pool situation? So, I know, very sad chicken, exactly. And I feel terrible because, you know, we told her she could live with us and gave her a safe home, and now, you know, it's not safe. I just need one of these. I don't need 2 layers, and I need 2 of these, and I need 2 of these. All right, so let's do these on the double layer first. So, all right, I'll finish the Luna story in a second because you got to know this other part of my story. So, like a year and a half ago, we hired someone to do our yard and pool service together. Like, they were all in one service, and it was great. My husband was traveling a ton, and I don't touch the pool. I think I told you guys that. And the pool wasn't doing that great, you know, like consistently. So I was like, all right, let's hire someone. That's fine with me, you know, if that's what you want to do. He was like, I absolutely want to do that. I was like, all right. And they were also doing our yard. Well, they, like, on the 3rd visit, they didn't show up, and our pool wasn't doing that great, and so then it turned green instantly because it got warm. So, oh, Megan, I don't know anybody here, and I had tried, I promise. I really tried. Like, and then the fire happened. Like, I could have asked my brother to help, but then the fire happened, like, right after this. And so many weird things happened last fall. This rabbit wandered in our yard and lived in our wood pile for like 2 months during Halloween. It was crazy. Someone's pet bunny. I looked for its owner, never, you know, it was just this, hung out with the chickens, you know, totally chill. Cutest little thing. All right, so I hired this guy, and then they didn't show up, and then the pool turned green, and I was just like, I was having a bad spring in general. Like, all these things were going crazy, and I was just like, kind of feeling over this town, you know. I was just like, gosh dang it. Just want to meet people, meet reliable people, and now even contractors don't show up. My chicken coop's a mess, and now these people don't come, you know, whatever. And I decided, what the heck? This is on the fold. Okay, good. I decided to let them go, and I left a review. I never leave, I'm not going to say never, but it's very hard for me to leave a negative review, but I was pretty upset and a little overboard. And so I was like, yep, these folks didn't show up. I fired them, you know, something like that. And I got a letter, you guys, recently. So it's not that easy, Megan. They came in from underneath. Trust me. Trust me, I know. Okay, so I got this letter in the mail. This was just a few weeks ago. And it was from the guy who owns this pool and maintenance thing. I've got all these pieces, right? These are all done. Let's hang these up so I don't accidentally cut them. I don't have this one. And I don't have this one. Okay. So I get this letter, you guys. And it's from the owner. And he was like, hi. I'm airing out all of, you're going to see, you know, the measure of me, you guys. I'm not proud. I left this review, and it really negatively affected him because what I didn't know, because I had just started service with him, was that his wife had just been diagnosed with cancer, and he had to leave the care of his business with some folks, and they did not take care of the business. And I was one of those people kind of lost in the mix of this. And he was just like, you know, my wife is back home now, she's in a wheelchair now, and I'm really trying hard to take hold of my business back and get everyone back on track. And he's like, I just feel terrible that we dropped the ball on you. I'm really sorry about that. It's totally not my style, and I'm wondering if I could just make it right with you. And I was just like, oh my gosh. Okay, like an hour later, I also learned my grandmother had passed away. Wasn't expecting that. And I was just like, wow, I feel terrible, you know? So I immediately went and changed my review. And I just said, you know, this person really owned up to things. And I was definitely not my best on the day that I wrote this review, and was probably a little more harsh than I needed to be. I just owned up to it. And I wrote him a letter right back. And so we're becoming friends now. This is the silver lining. So he's come, and he like, our pool was like beautiful, and then all of a sudden, like, it just takes one little thing and it'll just turn, you know. And so he's like, all right, I'm gonna get this on track for you. And he came and did way more, and like cleaned up our yard because it was like leaves everywhere because of the time of year. And then I can't believe I'm telling you guys all this, but I was just kind of giving him a tour of the yard, and I was like, oh, by the way, we have a chicken. You know, not plural, just one chicken. So, just so you know, and she seems pretty okay with like the equipment and stuff like that, but I just want you to know that there's a critter in there, because sometimes she goes in the coop and you can't see her. So don't open the door, basically. And I said, I'm looking for a home for her because I really don't want her to spend the winter alone, and I really want her to have some buddies, and I don't want her to get too cold. And so the next time he came, and he said, you know, we do this. Well, he had told me about, like, when he saw our chicken, before he knew I was looking for a home, he said, oh, we do work for a woman up on the ridge, and she has chickens, and they follow her everywhere. And then he offered, he's like, you know, I can ask her if she'll take your chicken. So my long story short is that today he picked up Luna and took her to this woman's farm, and she's going to be able to have buddies again. And she went with someone who knows what they're doing. Because that was my thing, is like, I didn't really want to send her somewhere with people that didn't know what they were doing with chickens. So that's my story. It's quite a story, right? All the little things that go on in our life, just little tiny things, they just keep adding up, don't they? Like, there's just so many details, and you think, oh, I'm just going to add this one little thing to my life, and then it ends up being a major pain in the butt and causing so much anguish, you know? Something that we had always had chickens, and my family really wanted to have again, you know? Okay, so this is my lining. So that's my chicken story. She did, I know. I'm really hoping it goes well for her there, you know? Wait, this is this one. I need this one. But I'm so glad, like, I really hope it works out for her there, you know, and you know, she has a buddy again, because she was buddies with Buckbeak. That was her buddy. All right, wait, let me think about this. I actually don't want to do this piece, because I want my grain line to be like this on this, just visually. I know you guys can't see the texture of my canvas, but I only need one layer. My daughter was definitely having reservations this morning. She was like, this isn't like, you're like, you know, sending her to the farm, right? And I was like, no, I wouldn't do that. I mean, you know, come on, dude. I am like all about animals. So yeah, the story has a happy ending. And he's going to text me pictures today of the place so that I can reassure Cricket, you know, so... reassure me. I know. I'm like, oh gosh. I'm so glad though, like, now she won't be alone out there. Because the other thing is, like, when we got Loki, the pug puppy last year, I have raised so many chickens, you guys. And I've never had a dog that went after chickens. But I've definitely known several. It's nothing wrong with the dog if they do that. It's just something, some dogs have it and some dogs don't. And I've definitely had friends that were like, oh, my dog's fine with chickens. And then they'll come over let them out in the backyard when they get there. They'll just be like, oh, I let the dog in the backyard. And then they come in the front door. And I'm like, well, have they been around chickens before? You know, and then you see their dog terrorizing the chickens. They're like, and they feel so heartbroken. I'm like, no. There's nothing wrong with your dogs. Some dogs do it. Some dogs don't. You know, and we had a really good neighbors whose dog would do stuff to our chickens often. I've never had that kind of dog. And now I have a tiny little pug, little ferocious dude. He's not ferocious. He just wants to play with her. But so she couldn't free range in our yard anymore. So that was like the other tragedy of Luna, was that even if she didn't have her buddies, she was free range in our yard during the day, and we would shut her in every night. We couldn't with that little guy. So, oh yeah, Terry, yeah. We've had ducks before. We had Muscovy ducks. And they're really unique because it was Muscovy, right? Yeah, the ducks were my husband's project, but of course, you know how that goes. And what's interesting about them is that they have a claw as well as the webbed feet, so they can actually roost at night, and that can make them, in certain circumstances, a little safer for certain, you know, circumstances. Depends on what your setup is. We had back at our old place where I really raised chickens, we had a full coop building you could walk into with a huge roost, 7 nesting boxes. I mean, it had been built in the early 70s. It was rock solid. Well, it was actually showing its age. But I could actually foster all of our baby chicks in there because we would get about 100 every year. And we would put them in there separate, you know. And then there was then 2 yards, and they were connected, but you could shut the door between them. And the other one had an outdoor roost with actually hutches underneath, which were kind of funky. I didn't use those. But what was great was that when I've raised turkeys and ducks, they could be on that outside roost. They didn't want to be inside the building. And it was great. They could be up there. And one of our chickens always hung out and slept with them, which was kind of cute. And the other great thing about the Muscovy ducks is that they eat rodents. So if you have that tendency to have them, we didn't, but they'll keep them down. So they got a real treat, careless about the... I know, I really love having animals. I would have totally been a farmer if you could still travel. But it's just not very responsible if you're going to travel a lot to have animals, because it's really hard to have year-round animals if you're traveling. I'm not going to say it's irresponsible, because people do it and they're responsible about it, you know, but it wasn't going to fit with us. I've raised lots of things on a farm in Colorado. Personally, the animals I raised the most of were chickens, and then I did the ducks and the turkeys. The other thing about the ducks is that I don't like duck eggs, personally, so there was no real reason to have them except for ambiance, and we had a little pond, so... Yeah, so, all right, so we have our main panel. Let's see how it's going to look. Let me make sure I did this right since I was yammering the whole time. I have my straps and the strap holders with tons of chalk on them. So these, the zipper end. I have my exterior pockets. So this goes like this. I have my interior pockets, like this, and then those go inside there, and then my strap. And then you'll see inside my bag, it'll have polka dot pockets. That's my plan. Yeah? Yeah, they're richer. So you can use them for baking. Yeah, right, Megan, exactly. They're a lot richer. So some people love them, and if you get ducks, you'll know those people because they'll come right up to your house and say, hey, do you sell your duck eggs, you know? I just let them, I was just always trying to collect them and give them away because I was afraid they'd have babies. We had a male and 2 females. Yeah, so, and they're bigger. I will, if you ever get a chicken's Terry, and you need any tips, just let me know. I will tell you, if you have a lot of eggs, that you can freeze them, which is, a lot of people don't know that. You wouldn't want to eat them. I've never tried them, actually, to tell you the truth, after frozen and like scrambled. I just use them for baking, but you can freeze, like I would freeze 2 at a time because most recipes call for 2 eggs, and I would just like lightly scramble and put them in a little container and use them for baking, and wouldn't change anything. It's great. So you get really good when you have a surplus of how to use it and finding the people that want them. It wasn't hard for me to sell my eggs. But here we were actually getting too many eggs, and my family wasn't eating them. They were so out of practice, you know? All right, well, I'm pretty excited about this. You could do a webbing strap, by the way, if you wanted. Or if you look at her Instagram, she just posted a picture of 2 bags she made for her and her mom in a Pendleton fabric with a leather strap. It's beautiful. So, well, I told you a story. I cut out a bag. I taught you some pattern drafting. And boy, it was only a little over an hour. It was pretty diverse. And you know, I totally forgot about the idea of a plaid dress until this morning. I'm kind of disappointed in myself that I kind of got sidetracked from that. But I really wanted to sew this as well. I've been thinking about it because when I put this, I have the Cheyenne tunic on today, which is the one with the like the placket, so it stops right here, you know. And I was thinking, ooh, what if I could turn this shirt into a dress? And then I started thinking about it again, and I was like, maybe the tea house dress by Sew House 7. But a beltless version and one with like maybe darts in the back. I'm constantly altering that dress pattern because I love the front so much. Really, Malin? Are you going to do flannel? I want flannel. I know, don't you think like a popover placket style? Malin. Do it, do it. I'm killing you. What do you mean? I really want a flannel dress. You know what? The only reason I didn't do it was because I don't want to go to the fabric store. I don't want to go there because then I'll get sidetracked and I have a few things to sew. But I can show you the sneak peek of something. What time is it? I don't think my daughter's watching right now, so I could show you. I know, that's the only thing, Melanie. It might look like a nightshirt. That's true. Maybe even as the tea house, it would look like that. It might even more look like it because of that. Ooh, that's a good bet. We need a good pattern. I think you could use the Archer button up. Yeah, don't you have the teal plaid, Megan? Huh. All right, let me show you. I really want you guys to see it because you're never going to get to see it unless I show it to you now. So I'll show you. Because I just finished. Where's my other? Oh, yeah, here we go. All right, so this is my Christmas gift for Cricket. I finished her quilt, and I did the binding yesterday. And look, I did 1-inch wide binding. Here's the back. It's massive. The thing is huge. And so the first square is a pug, and then the last square is a Shiba. Turned out cute. And then I stitched my little label on the back. There's a lot of lint on it right now, though. But yeah, doesn't it look cute? Look at the stitch design. It's oh, it's heavy. It's got this like wave print. I think she's gonna like it. She likes yellow a lot. So I have a lot of yellow fabrics. I'm excited. I finished it, and then here's the one I made that's not a surprise for anybody, but I haven't done the binding yet because it's mine. Here's my very first real quilt. I think I showed you guys, but you can see it on the big table here. Looks a little easier. And then here's the back. This folk cat print that's kind of busy, huh? The yellow one is Queen. Really, Megan? Your teeth likes yellow too? I think it's such a fun color to like. So yeah, I'm pretty happy. This one I'm not sure what I'm gonna do for the binding, but I might use all of these leftover jelly roll pieces that I use and just piece them together. You think that'd be okay, you guys? Just do the 1-inch binding again, but it would change. I don't know. Maybe I can piece them together with a diagonal line. Yeah, that would help, huh? Not look so blocky. And then I'm thinking I'm gonna figure out how big and stuff. Thanks. Yeah, it would tie on nicely, right? And then I'm not overthinking it because, you know, I'm new. I'm a noob. I'm learning. So I'm making some shams today. I'm trying to chip away at my sewing now. We did all those gifts last week and I was like, wait, I still have some gifts to sew. I have a lot to sew. But I'm so happy. This woman stitching them makes it look so professional, you know? I think she's going to like it just because it doesn't look like the ones I've made at home. Hi, Brown Sugar. Oh, I know. I just thought she was going to be live today too. You should go support her. We're all done. Maybe I'll go say hi to her. That's awesome. You know, if we were on Twitch. Oh my gosh, Twitch. I'm so sorry. I haven't checked to see if anyone's there. I'm so sorry. Sorry. Oh my gosh. I feel terrible. I'm so sorry, Twitch. I'm sorry my unified chat isn't working. If we were both on Twitch, I could raid her with my viewers, which would be pretty cool. And then you guys would all go over there, say hi, and then stay or do whatever you're going to do. So, okay, guys. Well, we're going to make this tomorrow. I think I can get it done pretty much in one sitting. I hope so. Oh, really, Malin? I'm so naughty. What do you mean? I said go see her. That's cool, Malin. So the class I'm gonna take is a plus in curvy size pattern drafting. Like, it's for people who already know how to do pattern drafting, which is great. I'm really excited about it. Hopefully I can pass along some knowledge. Leaving Twitch. I know! That is terrible. I did leave Twitch high and dry, so I'm sorry, you guys. I was totally wrapped up in my own little world, wasn't I? Sorry. And I love Twitch. It's like my personal love, you know? I was watching this YouTube channel yesterday because I watched this one. I don't watch it, but I listen to it. It's music, and it's like I've told you guys. It's called Chilled Cow, and they have a bunch of different iterations of the exact same music channel. And it's just good background music. It's not really music I would listen to normally, but I really like you don't even think about it, and then it's, you know, not even a book you have to focus on. And because some music can be, for me, a little distracting, or I have to create the playlist, and that's just a lot of work, you know. But the chat on that, I have to hide it. It is so bizarre. And I watch a lot of live streams on Twitch. I watch a lot of gaming streams, and there is a very wide range of ages, but most of them are a lot younger than me. And I definitely see some like interesting chatter going on, but not like that Chilled Cow one. I have to hide it. I'm like, what the heck are these people talking about? And who are they talking to? It's so weird. It's the weirdest chat I've ever been in. So funny. All right, well, I'm going to head out because I'm going to keep doing, I don't usually sew for myself during the day, but I am right now. Well, not me, but other people. And I really want to keep it going. There is a chance I may not stream this Saturday. We did find a place for my husband's grandmother. She's still been in a skilled nursing facility, and now she has to move into an assisted living facility. She's been in an independent place. We found one that she really likes, we really like, and we're going to... Hi, Soda Fit! Aren't you streaming? What? I was going to come say hi to you when I'm done. How's it going, Andrea? She's finished. I thought it said you were on at 1. Wait, are you... And it's 12:30 my time, so I thought you were an hour ahead of me. You just finished. Oh, okay. Well, I'm just finishing too. Where's everyone going to go? We're making a bag this week because we're going to do our bodice draft, and everyone wanted to wait till after the holidays. So, thanks, Megan. Yeah, I may help my husband move. He's just like, I'm going to just do it. And I'm like, you need help. 2 hours behind me. Oh, okay. I was going to send everyone your way. Dang. So yeah, I may not be here on Saturday. It just depends. So I'm pretty sure I can finish this bag tomorrow, though, that we're making. I was doing show and tell. I had made these quilts. My first real quilt is, I consider this one because it's an actual pattern that I followed, and there was like paper piecing and all that fancy stuff. PJs, yay! From a Sew a Little Seam, my sub referred. Someone, oh, cool. A PJ set from Sew a Little Seam. Someone has mentioned that. PJs. I just made some PJs too. I've been living in them. When it's pajama time. Don't worry, I'm not wearing them during the day, you guys. Cute. I like making pajamas. They're satisfying. And, no one sees you in them. It's kind of a weird thing to make, I even went to a holiday party this weekend, too. It's a busy time of year. Busy time of year, you guys. All right, so I'll see you tomorrow. Maybe I'll know more by tomorrow about Saturday. I may not know till Friday. So, but I know you guys are pretty busy on the weekends this time of year. So, yeah. You wouldn't, Megan? Well, there are lots of streamers who do stream in their jammies, so, or in their bedroom. All right, well, I hope to see you guys tomorrow, and we'll make this little bag, and it's gonna be fun, So I will see you tomorrow, 11 a.m. Pacific again, and we'll start sewing this Hillside Tote, making the mini version. You have time to download the pattern and cut one out tonight if you want to sew with me tomorrow. And it's by Noodlehead. So, yeah, you're welcome. It was great for me too. Thanks for listening to my long stories, and I will see you guys tomorrow. So, and thanks for stopping by, Andre. I hope your stream was good. All right, you guys, I will talk to you soon.